The USS Voyager is famous for its valiant journey through the Delta Quadrant. Voyager's journey allowed the ship to make first contact with many species in an area of space Starfleet had only dreamed of visiting. While entirely an accident of ending up there, today we ask the Star Trek theory question of, what if Voyager never went missing? Pivotal events in Star Trek's timeline can lead to many different events. We've even seen this in Voyager's series ending. A future Admiral Kathryn Janeway changed the timeline to ensure her ship and crew got home sooner than they originally would, in order to save members of her crew. But what if the ship never went missing? Let's explore. Welcome to Trek Central, I'm your host Captain Jack, and let's get into it! If you like the idea of our new Star Trek What If series, then leave a comment below for what we should check out next. Perhaps something to do with the Dominion War, or maybe the Borg. You choose. Of course, if you want to keep up to date on the latest Star Trek news, lore, and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from a team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media for the daily updates on the Star Trek universe. But as always, please answer your thoughts in the comment section below, because if you're talking about Star Trek, then we want to hear about it. Okay? Engage. The USS Voyager may be one of the most influential hero ships in the Star Trek universe, alongside the original Enterprise, the D, the Defiant, and many others. But just how important was this beautiful little Intrepid-class science vessel known as Voyager? The ship stands out not only for its immense technological, medical, and strategic innovations made while lost in the Delta Quadrant, but also for the resilience and leadership that defined its crew. The 7-year journey of 150 souls, led by Kathryn Janeway, fundamentally changed the Federation's understanding of the Delta Quadrant. Had the USS Voyager never been brought to the Delta Quadrant by the caretaker, the Star Trek universe we know and love would look wildly different. Many of the technological advancements afforded to Starfleet would have taken much longer to develop, if at all. Voyager's experience with aliens like the Kazon, the Krenin, Species 8472, and of course the Borg introduced Starfleet to a new set of strategic and tactical doctrines. While the ship would likely have proven to be an asset during times such as the Dominion War, the experience of its crew and captain in the Delta Quadrant have been invaluable to the Federation. Who knows? Without Janeway's expertise with temporal incursions, the Temporal Investigations Division may have never been created. What? Janeway created the Temporal Investigations Division? That doesn't add up. We'll discuss that theory again some other time. Regardless, without the experiences of Voyager in the Delta Quadrant, the Federation may have been denied one of its most capable leaders in Captain and future Admiral Janeway. Of course, every member of the crew was also integral to the ship's successful journey home, and most played essential roles in Starfleet beyond their return, which we'll discuss. However, it's undeniable that the Star Trek universe would look very different today had key figures like Seven of Nine, the Doctor, and B'Elanna Torres never had the opportunity to reach new potentials aboard Voyager. So let's finally get into it. What if the USS Voyager was never lost in the Delta Quadrant? Deployed from Deep Space Nine in 2371, the initial mission of the USS Voyager was to locate and apprehend a Maquis vessel, the Valjean, that had disappeared in the Badlands, a region notorious for its dangerous plasma storms and spatial anomalies. The Maquis ship, led by Chakotay, had engaged in rebel activities against the Cardassians, and Starfleet assigned Voyager to track them down and bring them to justice. Additionally, Voyager's chief of security, Tuvok, had recently infiltrated Chakotay's crew on the Valjean, and it was Voyager's responsibility to extract him safely. If Voyager had simply failed in its mission and been unable to find or apprehend the Maquis, the ship would have returned to Federation space empty-handed. This would likely have led to the heightened tensions between Starfleet, the Maquis, and the Cardassians, as a failure to contain the rebellion could have inspired other Maquis cells to join the uprising. Starfleet would have had to increase its efforts to suppress the Maquis resistance, deploying additional ships and resources to deal with a growing threat, resulting in further hostilities with the Maquis and endangering the tenuous peace with the Cardassian Union. I guess Starfleet could just take more of the Captain Sisko approach?
Commander, I said launch torpedoes.
But what if Voyager had succeeded in its initial mission? If Voyager had succeeded, the Valjean would have been captured, and Chakotay and his crew would have been brought to Federation space to stand trial. Starfleet loves a trial. This would have effectively ended Chakotay's rebellion, with him and his Maquis crew imprisoned for their hostile actions against the Cardassians. Voyager's success might have emboldened Starfleet's efforts to end the Maquis movement, sending a strong message to other cells that Starfleet could contain and neutralize any threats to the peace agreement with the Cardassians. However, the tension between the Maquis and Starfleet could have also escalated, causing more Maquis cells to resort to extreme measures in response to their leadership's apprehension. Either way, if the mission was a success or a failure, the situation could have continued to chew through valuable Starfleet resources in the years leading up to the Dominion War. As well, the lives of the Voyager crew would have been far more ordinary compared to the extraordinary lives they led in the Delta Quadrant. The majority of the crew would have continued their typical Starfleet assignments, facing routine exploration, scientific, diplomatic, and defense missions. As you'll see going forward, this is a frequent theme when imagining the alternate fates of this young crew. We've actually done a dedicated video on the USS Voyager's first crew. You see these people like Lieutenant Commander Cavett and Lieutenant Stardy on board Voyager in the series premiere episode. Nearly all of the original command crew are killed in the series premiere, but if Voyager never travelled to the Delta Quadrant, these crew would likely still be on board. Had the USS Voyager not been lost in the Delta Quadrant, its role in Starfleet would have been that of a standard scientific and exploration vessel, following Starfleet's mission of exploration, defense, and diplomacy. The Intrepid-class Voyager was a state-of-the-art ship, so likely it would have been tasked with scientific expeditions, charting new star systems, and surveying less explored regions of space. Kathryn Janeway, an experienced scientist and diplomat, would have added to Voyager's ability to advance Starfleet's exploration goals. But without the transformative experiences of being lost and alone for 7 years, Voyager and its crew would have followed a traditional path. The ship's impressive technical capabilities would have not been tested as they were in the Delta Quadrant, leaving Voyager a competent but mostly unremarkable starship. Voyager would have continued to use existing systems without the enhancements that the encounters with the Borg and other advanced species in the Delta Quadrant afforded them. Think of things like transwarp and slipstream tech, advanced shielding, or the astrometric modifications introduced by 7 of 9, which would never have happened, causing Voyager to remain a very standard ship in the fleet. We already know that Starfleet would launch more of the Intrepid class anyway, as Admiral William Ross is seen on board one during Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Serving in the Dominion War, Voyager would have played an important role as a fast, agile vessel, capable of both scientific missions and tactical operations. As Voyager aged, it would have taken on a more of a strategic and diplomatic mission, especially in the aftermath of the Dominion War. The ship would have been deployed for peacekeeping missions, stabilizing regions affected by the war, and working closely with Federation allies to rebuild political alliances. Voyager may have also been tasked with patrolling Starfleet's borders, ensuring the security of the Federation, while likely still conducting important scientific research. The ship would have also made an ideal candidate for humanitarian missions, disaster relief, and emergency evacuation, reinforcing Starfleet's commitment to interstellar cooperation. Over time, Voyager might have become a highly respected ship within Starfleet, known for its reliability, but nothing remotely close to the revered ship we know and love. Obviously, during the Dominion War, Voyager would have been a versatile asset within the fleet, utilizing its advanced design for both combat and intelligent missions. With its agility and advanced warp capabilities, Voyager would have probably been deployed on the front lines of conflict to carry out high-speed, hit-and-run attacks against Dominion assets and supply lines. Its ability to move quickly would have made it integral for disrupting operations deep behind enemy lines, targeting critical infrastructure as well as gathering vital intelligence. The ship's small size would have made it an ideal choice to engage in strategic assaults, quickly retreating before reinforcements could arrive, minimizing risk and maximizing damage. In addition to its offensive roles, Voyager would have been excellent for reconnaissance and intelligence gathering missions. The advanced sensor arrays, designed for scientific exploration, would have been repurposed for detecting Dominion movements, cloaked ships, and monitoring enemy communications. Through this, Voyager would have provided Starfleet Command with tactical insights that could have reshaped the course of many battles. Its ability to conduct long-range reconnaissance, including gathering detailed information about enemy positions, would have been essential in developing tactical strategies and coordinating fleet movements. This intelligence would have likely contributed to Starfleet's victories in key engagements, as the speed and sophistication of Voyager made it a prime candidate for missions where speed and discretion were essential. Alternatively, or additionally, the ship could have been used to escort convoys of medical and supply ships, protecting them from Dominion and Cardassian forces, as they provided support to Federation outposts and planets. Its advanced medical facilities, while nothing like they were post-Delta Quadrant, would have still been useful in treating wounded personnel and providing emergency care during and after battles. Voyager essentially could have served as a hospital ship during intense engagements, providing care and evacuating injured Starfleet officers from the front lines. Its ability in combat and humanitarian missions would have made it an important resource to Starfleet, as they attempt to balance the war effort with humanitarian obligations. After the conflict, Voyager most likely would have played a role in the post-war negotiations and reconstruction efforts, assisting to stabilize war-torn regions. Unfortunately, while Voyager would have been a vital element of Starfleet during the Dominion War, it never would have achieved the same legendary status it earned from surviving the Delta Quadrant. The ship and crew's contributions would have been significant, yes, but probably in line with other ships of its class, simply serving as a reliable vessel in a larger war effort. Traditionally, Starfleet ships are designed with longevity in mind, with many in active service for several decades, due to the benefit of ongoing refits and technological upgrades. A prime example being the USS Excelsior, launching in 2285 and serving for over 40 years. If Voyager had not been lost in the Delta Quadrant and had survived the Dominion War, it may have enjoyed a similarly long life, remaining active for another 20 to 30 years. With continuous updates and maintenance, Voyager might have remained a valuable asset, likely still participating in exploration missions and humanitarian efforts. Its proven durability and versatility would have ensured that it continued to contribute to Starfleet into the early 25th century, but never truly becoming a distinguished veteran ship like the Enterprise or Excelsior. Fun fact, there is actually an alternative story about Voyager not going missing. This takes place in an alternative timeline in which the Cardassian Union did not withdraw from Bajor in 2369. Janeway was still in command of this version of Voyager, which was not stranded in the Delta Quadrant. In addition, Janeway's senior staff did include First Officer Lieutenant Commander Cavett, Security Chief Tuvok, Stardy, the Unknown Doctor, Joseph Carey as Chief Engineer, and Ensign Harry Kim as the Operations Manager. The ship was part of a task force consisting of 9 ships, which did also include Intrepid sister ships USS Bellerophon and the USS Intrepid. They were ordered to investigate recent suspicious activities being carried out by the Cardassians on the Federation border. Upon arriving, the ships were soon fired upon by a fleet of Gala-class warships armed with phased Polaron beam weapons. Unknown to the Federation at this time, these weapons had been provided to the Cardassians by their new allies, the Dominion. The Cardassians had made contact with the Dominion several years earlier via the wormhole, which they had discovered in the Bajoran sector, the existence of which they kept secret from the other major Alpha Quadrant and Beta Quadrant powers. In the midst of a battle, Voyager was able to gather detailed sensor readings. This was moments before the ship was destroyed of all hands, but luckily, Tuvok transmitted these sensor readings to Starfleet Command, enabling the Federation to develop countermeasures against the phased Polaron beam weapons. The Intrepid was destroyed along with Voyager, marking 2 Intrepid-class starship losses. However, the USS Bellerophon barely escaped intact. Assuming Voyager was in service at the time, it would have been a critical asset in Starfleet's efforts to evacuate and relocate billions of Romulan citizens affected by the impending supernova. Voyager's advanced design, although aging at this point, would have made an ideal vessel for participation in a large-scale rescue operation. Its medical team and facilities would have been vital in treating injured or sick Romulans, offering both emergency medical care during evacuations to longer-term medical support for displaced populations. However, its scientific background also would have enabled the crew to undertake missions scouting and assembling suitable resettlement locations within the Federation, or Allied space, ensuring the safety of Romulan refugees. As well, Kathryn Janeway's diplomatic experience would have been valuable managing the delicate relations between the Romulans and Starfleet during the supernova crisis. While it may not have been a technological marvel it became after its Delta Quadrant journey, if Voyager had survived the Dominion War, it would have been an absolute crucial asset to Starfleet in one of the most complex crises the Federation had ever encountered. If Voyager had never been lost in the Delta Quadrant, it would have been extremely valuable to Starfleet's exploration and tactical missions. However, we know this pales in comparison to the profound impact Voyager's actual journey had on the Federation. The ship's unexpected adventure into the Delta Quadrant pushed the boundaries of Starfleet's technological and strategic capabilities, but also led to the unprecedented advancements in science and medicine. Starfleet and the United Federation of Planets would be seriously lacking were it not for Voyager's transformative and pivotal journey. The ship's encounters with the Borg and other advanced and powerful species led to critical technological innovations, like the integration of Borg-created transwarp technology and advanced shielding, both of which became vital to Starfleet's future defense and exploration efforts. Also worth mentioning is how Kathryn Janeway's interactions with the Q Continuum and her role in mediating between the Borg and Species 8472 profoundly impacted Starfleet's diplomatic and strategic approaches. Without Voyager's incredible journey, Starfleet would have lacked significant technological advancements, crucial insights to the Borg threat, and the invaluable lessons in interstellar diplomacy, ultimately leaving the Federation less equipped to handle future conflicts and exploration. Through its 7-year journey, Voyager's encounters with the Borg led to the assimilation of several technologies, including transwarp, advanced shielding, and regenerative shielding. Additionally, the Borg's advanced shielding and regenerative capabilities provided critical upgrades to Voyager's defensive systems over time, offering unprecedented protection. The implementation of these technologies not only improved Voyager's effectiveness, but they had a lasting effect on the whole of Starfleet's development. With its return to the Alpha Quadrant, Voyager facilitated numerous technological advancements within Starfleet. Whilst Voyager did experiment with Borg transwarp technology, using a Borg transwarp conduit to finally return home, Starfleet did not fully incorporate this technology fleet-wide upon Voyager's return. Starfleet would continue to rely on traditional warp drive through research into transwarp propulsion and other faster-than-warp technologies, such as quantum slipstream. However, Borg-created regenerative shielding technology was incorporated into the design of new starships, along with upgrades to existing vessels, bolstering their defensive capabilities and resilience in combat. Without question, the USS Voyager would have been a capable but average ship, serving Starfleet honorably. But what about the crew? Had Voyager never been lost in the Delta Quadrant, the lives and careers of its original crew would look very different. Without the transformative experience of being stranded 70,000 light years away from home, the Starfleet crew would likely continue along a more predictable, conventional career trajectory, while the Marquis crew would have been apprehended and punished for their actions. Kathryn Janeway, known as a strong leader, would have earned recognition. Without enduring the trials she faced in the Delta Quadrant, her reputation would be built through the confines of typical Starfleet assignments and missions. Meanwhile, Chakotay would have instead faced consequences for his involvement with the Marquis, likely resulting in imprisonment, never again to put on a Starfleet uniform. In the absence of the extraordinary challenges faced in the Delta Quadrant, an officer like Harry Kim would have, hopefully, experienced regular promotions through serving traditional Starfleet roles. Overall, without the unique experiences of their journey, the crew's personal growth and contributions to Starfleet would have been, for lack of a better term, ordinary. As we've discussed, the original crew of the USS Voyager was different from the group we came to know and love. However, a few important crew members were killed in action when the ship was dragged into the Delta Quadrant by the caretaker. So it's only fair that we start this section by mentioning the 3 most significant crew members lost during Voyager's first mission. Lieutenant Commander Cavett, Janeway's first officer, who perished in the pilot, would have remained by her side, potentially rising to command his own ship eventually. The unnamed Chief Medical Officer, also killed in the caretaker incident, would have probably continued managing Voyager's sickbay, therefore having no need to activate the emergency medical hologram. Lastly, Lieutenant Stardy, the Betazoid helmswoman, would likely maintain her position, building a steady Starfleet career based on her reliable navigational skills. These 3 lost crew members would have undoubtedly played a significant role in building Voyager's positive reputation throughout the Federation. But what about the Voyager crew we got to know over 7 seasons? If Voyager never went missing, where would they go? Ensign Harry Kim's Starfleet career would probably have followed a more conventional path. Eager and talented, the young ensign fresh out of Starfleet Academy would have served as Voyager's operational officer, developing his analytical, navigational, and engineering skills within significantly more controlled conditions. Without the challenges and crises he faced in the Delta Quadrant to test and push him, Kim may not have had the opportunity to develop some of the same level of leadership and resilience of the problem-solving skills that defined his character by the time Voyager returned to the Alpha Quadrant. Fortunately, this Harry Kim may receive promotions at a standard pace, acknowledging his competency and dedication to Starfleet. Without the growth and experience of nearly constant life-threatening situations, including experiencing his own death, Kim's career would have lacked the personal and professional transformation he underwent on Voyager, remaining a reliable but less seasoned officer, dutifully working his way up the ranks of Starfleet. Without Voyager being lost, Tom Paris's life would have been very different, likely involving a return to the penal colony Janeway pulled him from, rather than the redemptive arc he experienced in the Delta Quadrant. Originally brought aboard Voyager to help locate Chakotay's ship, the Valjean, due to his experience with the Marquis, once the mission was complete, his temporary position would have ended. Without the extraordinary circumstances of Voyager being lost, Tom Paris never would have had the opportunity to prove his worth, or regain his Starfleet commission. It's likely that he would have simply been returned to his confinement, as he was still serving a sentence for his previous crimes. We could theorise that Paris might have been pulled from the colony with the outbreak of the Dominion War, if Starfleet needed more personnel to man ships. B'Elanna Torres' life would have taken a far more difficult path without the intervention of the caretaker. As a member of the Marquis, Torres would have faced arrest and imprisonment had Voyager successfully completed its original mission to capture a Maquis ship in the Badlands. Her turbulent past, defined by a struggle with her Klingon heritage and difficulty acknowledging authority, would have continued to affect her ability to find a place where she felt accepted or understood. Without Voyager, where Kathryn Janeway gave her a second chance by appointing a chief engineer, Torres would have not had the same opportunity to demonstrate her brilliance and grow into a genuine leadership role. Without the intense challenges of a Delta Quadrant, where her ingenuity and technical skill were crucial to the survival of the crew, Torres would have likely remained embittered and defiant, and her talents unrecognized. As well, her relationship with Tom Paris, which provided her with much needed emotional support and growth, would have never blossomed, likely leaving her isolated. Ultimately, Torres might have continued to live on the fringes of society. She may have found her way to other groups, like the Fenris Rangers, in an attempt to belong, but her potential would have been unfulfilled and her personal demons unresolved. Chakotay's life would have travelled a far more challenging and potentially bleak direction. As the captain of the Valjean, the Maquis ship Voyager was originally tasked to pursue, Chakotay and his crew would have been apprehended and returned to Starfleet for trial, facing charges of terrorism and treason against the Federation. His sense of loyalty to the Maquis' cause and his disillusionment with Starfleet and the Federation's handling of the Cardassian border conflict would have gone entirely unnoticed. Without the unifying experience of being stranded on the other side of the galaxy and forced to work alongside Starfleet officers, Chakotay would have remained an enemy of the state, his Starfleet career fully behind him. Importantly, he would never have the opportunity to develop a close relationship with Kathryn Janeway, who became both a mentor and a friend. The redemption gained by serving as his first officer and guiding the integration of a Maquis crew into Voyager's ranks would have been absent. Chakotay's personal growth, leadership, and eventual peace with his past would have likely never happened, leaving him bitter and imprisoned, or continually on the run from Starfleet. His life, shaped by the unresolved anger and lost purpose, would stand in stark contrast to the man who helped lead Voyager and its crew home. As Arne Hansen, 7 of 9 was assimilated into the collective at a young age, and spent most of life as part of a Borg's relentless quest for superiority. If Voyager had never been dragged into the Delta Quadrant, they wouldn't have involved themselves in the conflict between the Borg and species 8472, and thus never would have encountered 7 of 9, tertiary adjunct of Unimatrix 01. Instead, she would have continued her service as a drone, without personal identity and autonomy. Had Voyager never encountered the Caretaker, Voyager's original chief medical officer wouldn't have died, and the life of the Doctor and the development of Starfleet's EMH program would have been vastly different without the crew needing to activate his program. As the name states, the Doctor was originally designed for emergency situations, and his use would have remained rudimentary, largely confined to theoretical applications or standard emergency protocols. Without the prolonged, intensive use aboard Voyager, his program would have never undergone the extensive updates and refinements which led to his advanced capabilities and evolving personality. The unique challenges and crises encountered during the ship's journey into the Delta Quadrant allowed the Doctor to develop well beyond his initial programming and acquire sentience and significant autonomy, becoming a fully fledged member of the crew. Without the Doctor's evolution into a complex and invaluable crew member, and the broader implications for holographic technology in Starfleet, there would be a significant gap in both technology progress and the potential for holographic contributions to future missions. Finally, we reach Kathryn Janeway, one of Starfleet's finest captains and an absolute integral figure in the Star Trek universe. Voyager's presence under Kathryn Janeway made an enormous impact on the other side of the galaxy, earning her the respect and legendary status she received upon her safe return of the ship and crew to the Alpha Quadrant. Had Voyager never been lost in the Delta Quadrant, Janeway's life would have followed a more conventional trajectory, altering her personal and professional development. As a devoted Starfleet officer, Janeway would have continued her successful career, excelling in space exploration and scientific research, but without the experience she gained from being stranded 70,000 light years from home. Her engagement to Mark Johnson, her fiancé at the time of Voyager's launch, would have progressed with the couple marrying and settling in a traditional life together. Janeway would likely struggle to balance her demanding career and personal stability. Her and her crew experienced intense, formative experiences in the Delta Quadrant, the absence of which would result in a career and life marked by less dramatic growth and leadership and personal connections. A Janeway who was never lost on the other side of the galaxy, may be without the ability to forge deep personal relationships with her crew, as she learned to do under extreme conditions in the Delta Quadrant. Additionally, without Janeway's influence on vast regions of the Delta Quadrant and her numerous alien species, the development of the region would have been vastly different. Her diplomatic efforts, strategic alliances, and frequent interventions played a crucial role in shaping a balance of power in the quadrant. Species such as the Kazon, the Vidians, and the Hirotian, who encountered Janeway and her crew, might have continued their aggressive, hostile tendencies without her influence. Without the presence of the USS Voyager and Kathryn Janeway, the Delta Quadrant's political landscape could have remained more fragmented and hostile, with fewer opportunities for cooperative development. As well, and maybe most importantly, the status of the Borg collective would have been altered, without interacting with Janeway, perhaps resulting in a far more powerful and dangerous collective in the 25th century. There's no doubt, but without the trip to the Delta Quadrant, Janeway's legacy would have been far more conventional, focused on standard professional and personal achievements, missing the depth and heroism that defines her role as a great captain, and a pivotal figure in Starfleet history and the Star Trek universe. Had the USS Voyager never been lost in the Delta Quadrant, the Star Trek universe would clearly have seen more significant delays in technological and medical advancements. The ship's acquisition and assimilation of Borg tech, including advanced transwarp drive components and cutting-edge nanotechnology, was instrumental in shaping the future of Starfleet tech. The absence of these enhancements would have left Starfleet with less advanced sensor propulsion and defense systems. The absence of these enhancements would have left Starfleet with less advanced sensor, propulsion, and defense systems. Additionally, the MH program exemplified by the Doctor would have remained rudimentary, with limited developments in holographic medical systems and AI integration. The medical advancements made by the Doctor, which led to more sophisticated treatment and care, would have been delayed or never realised. On a personal level, the lives of the Voyager crew would have been markedly different without their journey. Kathryn Janeway's career would have likely followed a more traditional route, with fewer groundbreaking accomplishments and less personal growth. Chakotay and the marquee crew members would have faced legal repercussions, likely remaining alienated from the Federation. Neelix's life would have been fraught with increased isolation and threats from hostile factions within the Delta Quadrant. 7 of 9 would have continued her existence as a Borg drone, deprived of a chance to reclaim her humanity. The Doctor's evolution into an advanced AI with significant contributions to Starfleet medical would have never occurred. The absence of Voyager's influence would have left Starfleet in a Federation with less advanced tech, fewer medical breakthroughs, and a more conventional journey for its personnel, missing the profound, beneficial impacts of the ship's journey home. Basically, the Star Trek universe would have been a lot less advanced and a lot more boring without the Voyager's fateful trip. So that's our journey into the possible future of the USS Voyager never going missing. Yes, this has been a long video, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Let us know what you think about this video in the comment section below, and don't forget, what next should we explore as a what if topic? If you want to keep up to date on the latest Star Trek news, lore, and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media or join our community Discord server. For now, I've been Captain Jack, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Live long and prosper, my friends. Goodbye.